Hello and welcome back to episode 3 of Film for Thought. I'm your host Ben, and today we'll be discussing the Taika Waititi film Boy. Released in 2010 at the Sundance Film Festival, Boy follows a young boy named Boy, yeah, that's literally his name, who grew up in a very poor town in New Zealand. His real name, as we discover later in the film, is Alamein. He was named after his father, who had spent the last few years in prison for robbery. He and his brother, Rocky, live on a farm with their grandmother, as their mother passed away while giving birth to younger brother Rocky. Because of this, Rocky believes throughout the entire film that he has superpowers, or the ability to control what happens to people around him. Boy's father, played by director Waititi, has come back from prison and starts a bike gang. At school and to his friends, Boy describes his father and compares him to a great and noble hero, and also references that he dances just like Michael Jackson, an obsession of his throughout the film. As Waititi does so well, he uses a form of satirical humor to show us the sad reality of Boy's life, while also providing the audience with comedic relief. In Hunt for the Wilder People, it was showing how the welfare system sees children as objects. In Jojo Rabbit, it was showing how Nazi propaganda influenced children's view of Hitler as a great guy. And in Boy, it describes a life of poverty where the only relative these boys have left is an alcoholic in a gang who has no capacity to take care of himself, let alone them. One of their bonding activities is when the father and his gang have Boy help them to find the treasure or the money that the father buried in a field before getting arrested. Even when Boy's father yells at him and leaves unexpectedly, he continues to try and find the money for him because he wants to prove his worth to join the gang and get his father to love him. Surprisingly, the boy finds the money, but his best friend, who happens to be a goat, eats it before he can get it back to his father. Tragically, later on, as the father and the boy are driving home, they hit the goat in their car, leaving Boy the duty of burying the body. I would argue the goat represents his father. While his father was gone, his only friend was this goat who he'd talk to often. When he brings the money back home, the goat is the first one he speaks to. The goat eats the money, which disappoints Boy, much like how his father has been disappointing him. When the father kills the goat, to Boy, this represents his father, who has been gone for a long time. He's not the same man he idolized and looked up to. This movie's transformation is practically identical to Jojo Rabbit, in that as the children gain real-world experience, they start to challenge their pre-existing thoughts about their surroundings. Boy, who begins the movie by bragging about how amazing his father is, soon realizes that his father is only in town to try and find his money and to get members in his gang. He doesn't truly care for the boys as they would have thought he would have. Eventually, Boy comes to this realization after his father lashes out at him for wearing his gang jacket. During one of the final scenes, Boy and Rocky confront their father while Boy begins to slap and punch him for never being there. Boy has completed the cycle of realization that the father he tricked himself into remembering was not the same man who was in front of him. In quite a beautiful fashion, they all end up at their mother's grave while their father was already there. The movie ends with them reminiscing about what could have been if only fate had determined otherwise. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Film for Thought. This will be the final episode of this season on Taika Waititi and his movies on childhood and satire. Stay tuned for future seasons and episodes. Thank you.